Talking about Western novels, we will immediately think about novel that entitled of Mice and Men. With that title, we can conclude what your first impression was like. Is it tentatively tells about a friendship about man with the mice as his pet? It's possible if you read it only briefly in chapter 1. You will only find the truth of the title like that. But when you move to the next chapter, we will conclude something about the title of this novel. So now we will explain it in our summarizing. This novel will be focused on a couple of travelers. George, a small and quick man, dark of face, with restless eyes and sharp, strong features. Every part of him was defined: small, strong hands, slender arms, a thin and bony nose, and a huge man, shapeless of face, with large, pale eyes, with wide, sloping shoulders, and he walked heavily, dragging his feet a little. The way a bear drags his paws, his arm did swing at his sides, but hung loosely and more foolish. His name is Lenny. They had a dream as landowners so that they can live in peace. They also looked for work on a California farm, hoping to stay there long enough and raise money together. They used to work on a farm, but had to run away from them because of a woman who was frightened when Lenny touched her right shirt. Lenny liked the girl's right shirt, but the girl thought Lenny was harassing her. The girl screaming made Lenny panic and instead tightened her grip. Finally, he was cased by local residents so that he and George had to hide in a ditch and then escape. George knew very well that Lenny had never meant anything against anyone. He just couldn't control his strength when he was panicked. After escaping, they finally got a new job at another farm. At first, everything was fine until finally Lenny did that again. He accidentally killed the wife of the farm owner's son. Lenny loved soft things, at first stroking the ranch wife's hair when George was out at the bar. Lenny kept stroking the woman's hair until finally the woman was frightened by Lenny's power. He screamed and made Lenny panic. She was screaming. Lenny shook him until she broke his neck. Lenny didn't notice his strength. When the woman didn't move, he realized that she was dead. It's like rats that die from grazing. He hid in the river where he and George had spent the night before arriving the ranch.
Upon returning from the bar, George finds the corpse of the farm owner's daughter and knows for sure that it was Lenny's doing. The husband of the dead woman also knew about this and was very angry. He said he was going to shoot Lenny. Knowing that Lenny was in danger and he could not save him at all, George finally directed the other residents in the direction opposite where Lenny was hiding. He knew Lenny's hiding place because he had told Lenny about it if Lenny got into trouble. George ended up shooting Lenny in the head with his own hand. He didn't want Lenny to die at the hands of other people who hate Lenny. He knew for a fact that Lenny never meant anything bad. He just couldn't control his strength. He shot Lenny in the back of the head while telling their favorite story. Lenny never knew that George would shoot him. He was very happy to be told by George. How sad it is when a friend shoots his own friend because he doesn't want that friend to be finished off by someone who hates him. The author gives us a clear description to look into the characters and characterization. Lenny characters is stupid, so what he do is depends on his friend, but he still have a good heart. George have a spirit in his life and have an understanding side for his friend Lenny, but he have a big ego. Slim is just a figurative character, so his character is not really stand out. Curly is an authoritarian and always bully his workers. Carson is jealous, especially with Curvy. Curvy's wife has a side of Campbell. And Candy is scared with other people, but he did not think first what will he do. Lenny's death conclusively demonstrates one of the novella's central idea and the message of the title. According to the rules of the American economy, the weak and vulnerable cannot survive at the end of Mice and Men. George spares Lenny from Curly's wrath by shooting Lenny in the back of the head after reciting their shared dream of owning a farm one final time. Because George is forced to kill his friend himself, Lenny's death is not only the death of a single vulnerable person, but also the destruction of a rare and idealized friendship. Throughout the novella, George and Lenny have viewed themselves as special and lucky because they have their friendship with one another. But in the end, all this means is that George must be the person to kill Lenny. This conclusion suggests that for the poorest and most isolated people, lasting friendship is a dream as cruelly unattainable as land ownership. Thank you, and here is the YouTube link attachment.